Good evening, everyone. Jose J. Garcia, real estate investor, coach, and mentor. Another Sunday coaching series, 8 p.m. EST time. Every Sunday night, 8 p.m. EST time, we are here to deliver educational tips, nuggets, any way we can help you, any way we can add value when it comes to mobile home investing. So, welcome everybody. We are doing Zoom as always, recording. So, there will be a recording replay come Monday morning for those of you who missed the call. But we're going to jump right on into it. So, it's after 8. Tonight's topic is communities. So the more so limited of communities. There's been a request for a little while, and we've done some coachings on this where we coach on because we do invest on, and I'm referring to 55 and above communities. Okay, in case you're wondering what a 55 and above community is, these are more so seen down in the Florida area, more retirement areas, if you will. But a lot of states are starting to have a few more of these parks. More people are getting into it, more investors, and I'm going to go over pros and cons and kind of will give you an idea as to why some of these investors are pushing for that. But what it basically means is you have to be 55 years old or older to live in this community. Now, there's a gray area. A lot of these communities, they'll list that as 55 plus. But if you are at least 50 years old, or in some communities, if you're at least 45 years old, they will go ahead and grant you access. Okay, so there is some gray, just depends on where it's at. Some other communities will say, well, somebody who lives in the community, somebody who lives in the home inside the community has to be at least 55 and above. If they are not at least 55 and above, then obviously you can't live in the community. So, it's again, that's just rule standards, depends on the community. Bigger communities, corporations, again, just depends on how strict. But again, we'll cover the pros and cons on that. We do invest in two mobile home parks currently. Both of them located down in Venice Beach, Florida. Now, I'm not opposed to them. I like them. Okay. I think there's a lot of pros into investing in communities that are for elderly people, respectfully. But there's also some limitations. So again, you gotta be on both sides of the fence here and decide, is this worth my investment? Should I be able to put money into this, sourcing and time, etc.? The two homes that we got into Venice, let me tell you the story about that. Venice Beach, Florida, beautiful area, by the way, beautiful. We were lucky when the hurricanes went through this past time that even though those areas got affected pretty good, both of the homes we have, weren't as affected. There was a few little damages on the exterior, but there's insurance. There's insurance for that as well. So, but it was hard for us to get into those. Now, the reason that we really more invested in those is because we had a realtor who was also a broker. She was a friend. She was an area. Of course, we connect with a lot of brokers and realtors, and we say anytime you hear of a mobile home, run it by us. We may be interested in investing in it. Just kind of go about it that way. So, and she jumped on. She jumped on board. She was bringing us leads. Mobile homes on private land, mobile homes in communities. 90% of those weren't deals. The other 10% were kind of worth looking into, but she happened to bring us these two that were actually a decent deal. These were, one of them was older people who needed to move out. They were moving up north, which is kind of uncommon. It's usually the other way around. And the other couple basically had lost a loved one. So it was more moving with the family, that sort of thing. So we invested in. We said, what, let's jump on those. Both of those are a good deal based on the market numbers, based on the returns, etc. We went through the whole obviously process, but then came to a halt because you got to remember, part of investing in any community, sooner or later you have to check in with the community park management, park owners, make sure they allow subleasing, they welcome investors. No, immediately. It was a no. No explanation. No, you're not subleasing here. We don't welcome investors. But I could tell that when I talked to the first person that they were obviously taught to say those things, that she didn't really know exactly. Just, when she said investors, it was more gray area because you got to think if you're going to be especially a money investor, let's say almost like a bank, no community, no any owner for that matter can deny a bank in a sense for providing some type of financing. And that's what we could do. But we kept calling. Obviously, it was a good deal. We were pushing for them. And eventually we got to another manager, and finally there were questions about it. I guess my voice doesn't sound like I'm 55 or above. So that was the first question is like, are you even 55 years old? And I continually kept reminding him, I'm not going to live here. I'm not looking to live in you. I would love to live in your community, but clearly I don't qualify. That's fine. I am an investor, and here's what we're going to do. Remember, you got to coach people, you got to explain. And when it comes to mobile home investing, you got to be able to tell them exactly what your plans are while always adding value. Got to remember that. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm not 55, but all I'm going to do is invest. I mean, you may never even see me. I didn't go there. I never even stepped foot into the community, not till later on. And then once we do get a rehab, get it the livable, presentable, etc., that person who buys it from us, they will have to be 55. We'll make sure of that, obviously, because that's the only way they'll qualify. And sure enough, they said, you know what? Fine. I guess I've blown up their phone enough every other day, twice on Friday and Mondays. Okay. And they finally said, okay, they did push at one point for the same thing I mentioned earlier. And that was if you have an investor partner or a friend who's at least 45, 55, that would work out better. But I didn't, not at the time, not in the area. So, this is what we got. This is what we're working with. So they let us in. And like always, first deal is always the hardest. First deal is where you prove yourself. So we did the first rehab, came in, did not need much at all for that matter anyway. Roof checked out, biggest things. We came in, did some TLC, and the same broker, the same realtor, the lady that we work with, still work with her to this day. She's the one that actually put it on the market. We talk about we don't use realtors, we don't use brokers, and that would be more so Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, North Carolina, maybe Tennessee, states where brokers, realtors don't really get involved. But when it comes to Florida, especially when you start dipping more towards the central and further down, West Palm, Miami, you get the other side, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Myers, realtors love mobile homes. And there's many that specialize just in mobile homes. So having her there was also a good source of boots on the ground because she kept up with things. We kept pushing. We're going to sell it. As soon as it's done, we're going to sell it. But we obviously make sure things get done. She would ride by there every day, just check and make sure the contractors were cleaning up or doing right. It all worked out. Put it on the market. It didn't last long. Okay. It did not last long. We jumped on the second one, which at this point, community realized that, yes, we are legit. We're simply coming in to invest, add value. It all works out. It's a win, win, win all the way around. So that happened, and we jump on number two. Same thing. Now, here is where you get into the pros and the cons to this type of investing when you think about 55 and above communities. There's limited, but there's also a lot of pros when you're dealing with 55 and above. If you have not seen any 55 and above, pull them up, Google them. Texas has a lot of them also, by the way. You will notice that these are very nice communities for the most part. There's a lot of amenities. Okay. Now, 55 and above communities might as well have, some of them do HOAs, there's rules and regulations, there's fees every month, there's landscape must be done, or they do it. Again, this is almost like a subdivision for mobile homes. It's what it is. So, very desirable, and it's Florida. It's by the beach, desirable. Okay. People want to live there, but I cannot sell to somebody under 45. That community specific, they said, yes, you have to be at least 45. Our board reads 55 and above, but 45 plus, you can move in. Well, a lot of the people, of course, it's by the beach, is right there. There's, it's just one of those 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, and we constantly deny. We didn't even try because we knew we're not even going to attempt. They're not going to prove you. Okay. So the way I see it is we passed up on a buyer and another buyer and another buyer. You see what happens. Now, granted, when we had the buyer, they come through of age, they were retiring, they were ready to come in. It was an easy peasy, but there was all the things that they also have to focus on. We'll go over here in a second. I call them the cons area too. Once they moved in, they put a down payment on the home. They started paying monthly, no issues. Respectfully, elderly people pay on time. They're not loud. They don't leave at midnight. Okay. They're not trying to come in and start parties, and 55 and above. There's not even any children to live there. The community kids, and some, I don't know, they're changing some around, but there's no children that live there. They can come there over the weekends, visit grandma, visit grandpa. So it's very quiet of a community, very relaxed, very taken care of. I mentioned amenities. I'm not referring to amenities just like a pool. Well, there's a set of swings. Some of these 55 and above communities, they have a bingo night. Okay, they have little conferences where they can have little get-togethers. They don't call them parties; they're get-togethers. They have fun. They even have a library on some of these. I mean, it's just they are very nice of communities. That's what they are. So, investing in these same people that bought from us still there. have never left. I've never had one complaint from the community calling us, hey, Joe is being loud again tonight. We don't get those calls because they're not going to be loud. They're there to relax, to retire, and to enjoy. And with the opportunity that they tell us, we give them low down payments, low monthly payments, no brainer. Should you invest in 55 and above? Do your homework. But yes, absolutely, you should. Let me talk about some cons to something like that. Okay. And I mentioned limited. So you're definitely going to be limited when it comes time to sell. But you knew that getting into it. You should have known it was hard for you to get in and invest. It's going to be even harder for somebody. These communities, because they're so well cared for, okay, their rules are more strict. So you got to focus on that. Now, what does rules matter to you? I'm just an investor. Well, why should I care about the rules? I'm just selling a home. Because a person or persons who comes in and buys the mobile home from you have to abide by those. Now, let's say on the rules, it says on there, no pets. Now, you said you didn't care, but everybody that comes there and that's going to retire may have a couple dogs. What now? You see that's a problem. And even in Georgia, where there are a lot more communities now that are saying no pets. And when they say there are no pets, they're for more to dogs, cat, bird, whatever, you know. So it's more dogs and that sort of thing. It's like we have had people that say, I'm not getting rid of my dog. This dog has been in the family, it's part of the family. You get the whole story. They don't get rid of the dog, and you just lost the buyer. So those things do matter. You have to abide by the rules just like anybody else, but more so be aware of those. Okay. Backgrounds are more strict. Backgrounds are more strict, but you're talking about elderly people. Elderly people, they're there to retire. It's more so on the background I'm seeing when it comes to 55 and above is they want to make sure that they make enough income to cover the lot rent, which they obviously have a mortgage in this case with us. They have to be able to cover the lot rent times 3 or 4. And a lot of people may say, well, lot rent is what, 300, 400 a month, maybe. That's not a whole lot for them to make. Well, in Florida, where we invest in, lot rent is 900, by the way, 900 per pack. So 3, 4 times that, you're talking a couple thousand plus now. Okay. But that's just a security, a safeguard. And a lot of the people these now, they're getting checks anyway. But just again, keep those things in mind. The two you're mentioning, not $900 a month. That's more than we collect here in Georgia. Overall, minus the lot rent and utilities, maybe, insurance, whatever we may need. But on those two homes, we're collecting one 1,700 and one 1,750. So there's still a spread of 8 to 850 each unit. But again, you see where those are, and it could be a con itself. What if we had to take that mobile back? Whatever happened, maybe something did happen. They moved out, and let's just say they trashed it. Not gonna happen. They trashed the mobile home. I have to go back in there, and I have to rehab it again, put it back on the market. This is time consumption. Let's just say 1 or 2 months. 1 or 2 months, even 1 or 2. That's also 900 a lot rent. I have to pay 900 again because I got nobody there to pay it now. So it's not just an expense of rehabbing and put it back on the market. But again, that can be a con in itself. Okay. Older communities, the cleanest. There's no community that's not 55 and above that's cleaner than a 55 that I've seen. I'm telling you, just need to go out, take a ride, drive them, look at them. Okay. Don't start putting your business cards on mailbox. Most of these communities, especially in Florida, don't have mailbox stations. Every home has its own little mailbox. Okay. Don't open the mailbox. That's illegal. Okay. Beautiful, safe community, the safest. Some have fenced around them. Some have securities. They drive through little golf carts at night. There's lights on the streets. There's cameras. It's a community. HOA, think of a subdivision for a mobile home park. That's what it is. Okay. I hope that helps you deciding on, do I want to invest in the 55 and above? My take is absolutely all day. Lot rents are higher. Yes, the markets are different. You should do your homework on that anyway. Okay. Mobile homes are mobile homes. To me, it's just another square box that I'm going to invest in, but I first need to know what the numbers are. Lot rents, rental rates, ARVs, after repair values. What can I sell this for? Get true comparables. You keep telling me these investors keep saying, well, I comp the single wide to a double wide because that's what last sold. That's not a comparable. A comparable has to be something equal to or as close as to it. 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 2 bedroom, 2 bath. Okay, you got to deal with that. Also have to figure out any cost of the insurances. Being in Florida, if you're going to invest, that's Hurricane Alley's, there's weather, Florida. You're going to have insurance, and insurance down in Florida is not as affordable as it is here in Georgia. But again, don't let me scare you. These are all numbers you need to know. You put all these numbers together, you look at your investment, you look at your ARV, and you see, do those ROIs, return on my investments, do they make sense? Is it worth me engaging in these investments down here? All right. We won't go any further than Venice Beach, Florida. I don't think so. I've had calls from Miami. I've had calls from West Palm. Maybe near future. There's actually a community in West Palm. I cannot think of the name of it. It's in West Palm. Y'all look it up. Oprah did a show there at one point, did a few episodes of something there. But the mobile homes there, and I mean, these are teeny little mobile homes, 2 bedroom, 1 bath. One of those little communities where houses are so close to each other, you can basically reach out and touch the next one. Those little houses, they'll sell from 500 to $1 million. I mean, just location. Would I invest in a mobile home wherever it is for $1 million? Not gonna happen. That's why I stay out of California. Nothing against it, but I get deals here for a fraction, pennies on the dollar. All right. Let me talk about a couple announcements. We're not going to carry on this evening. We got other coaching calls as well, but we got Tuesday night, 7 p.m. live on Instagram. Zoom or get the recording. Is deals. We got new deals, off-market mobile home deals we're going to be pitching. Any of you wants to pitch a deal, send us an email, j@garciamhu.com. We'll pitch them on there. We'll add them to our spreadsheet. We got a large following. We can also connect you. It's all about the networking. Okay. Saturday morning calls continue. We did this past Saturday morning. Did we do so? Yes, we did. Some days are blending in. Saturday morning, we went over our latest deal. Go watch the replay on Instagram. That is where I talked about where I actually invested in a single wide mobile home. Talked about the number breakdown, and the beautiful part was the reinvestment of it. So I took the same profits from that single wide personal property, mobile home, and I bought 2 pieces of land. Anything is possible. You just got to know this stuff. There's so much secrets out there. Keep on joining us on Sunday. I'm here to give you tips, nuggets, land and mobile homes. Okay. I'm not talking about properties, mobile home parks. I'm talking about private pieces of land with mobile homes. Could be one mobile home, could be a couple. We're going to be learning about that. We have the event that we had to postpone due to some building department inspections, different things we're working with in Bog Ground, Georgia. Because we rescheduled it, we're actually giving you that event for free. Yes, I'm going to be there. I myself are going to be there with another investor. We're going to be looking at his property, and we're just going to put this event for y'all. Anybody that wants to join us, but there's only 20 spots available. It's a double wide. It's still small as being in a mobile home, but it's about networking, getting to meet each other. I don't know if we're going to do it Zoom yet, virtual also. It's a free event. But if you want to join us, go check out our site, garciamhu.com. You can also send us an email, j@garciamhu.com. That is July 8th. That's a Saturday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's worth the drive. I assure you that. Last but not least, every year for the past 3 years, I've been introducing new exit strategies. You cannot limit yourself and think you're going to grow. One more stream of income means more passive income, means more cash flow, means more success, means more freedom. I can keep going. Okay. Rentals, that's one of them. Wholesale, that's another one. Rent to owns, lease options, those are 2 more. Okay. You can infill. You can bring mobile homes into a community. Remember, mobile homes are mobile. They can be transported as well. You can do, which we do, Airbnbs, Section 8, veteran assistant housing, elderly housing. Okay. Well, we're getting creative with all these. We started also doing weekly extended stays in campers. So that's another area that we started also. And we are going to be doing extended stays inside mobile homes, inside communities where we do all these strategies. But we're always thinking about what's one more strategy I can think of. Okay. Those were all strategies we've added into these communities, these strategies, and we use them all. Okay. Mobile home parks, we've wholesaled some of those. We bought some mobile home parks. It's, again, always trying to grow more. Mobile homes on land. We just bought 2 pieces of land. I'm going to be bringing a mobile home onto a piece of land. But some of these communities I was driving through, I was thinking, we've maximized these. I drove through one of them specific, and I thought, I brought so many mobile homes in here. I infilled and I sold them. And in some of them that were distressed vacant, we bought them, we fixed them up, and we rent them or sold them. But the community is maximized. I just couldn't tell myself that there's nothing else we can do there. What else can we do? Now you always think about, we always think, what about adding more pads? We've done that also. What if a park has 10 pads, but we can actually add an additional 10 more? That's a lot of cost of the planning, zoning, building department, but it's doable. It can be done. And we've done that. I came up with a strategy that requires, this is the new strategy. I'm not going to leave it for January because I'm going to start using it now. It requires no rehab, no labor. You don't even have to buy the mobile home. Okay. You don't have to deal with the material, the calls, the utilities, the insurance, the holding. Sounds all bad suddenly to rehab mobile homes. It is. It's a great thing. But I'm always thinking one more strategy, and I've come up with it. This is more what I call qualified at this time. Is going to be limited. I'm not going to do it in person. It's going to be a virtual because I want to show you. I want to show you numbers. I want to show you strategies. I want to show you specifics as to how you want to engage in this. This is almost in a sense somewhat like a private lender, but we'll talk more on the call. If anybody's interested, we're going to be advertising this soon. Send me an email, j@garciamhu.com, and we'll send you a little bit more details on that. We'll put a preview to it. But again, it's going to be very limited seats. So we're still working on this ourselves. So that's where we're at. Always thinking of one more strategy. All right. That does it for this evening, everyone. It's almost right at 8:30, so we're good. So keep sending me emails, questions, things you want me to talk about. Join us Tuesday. We'll see you there. Thank you for watching.